on Elon Local News.
If you've been following the presidential candidates, it might seem like an overwhelming race. We'll break down some stances making headlines that can really affect Elon students.
Whether you are overly clumsy or playing a contact sport, this can affect you in more ways than one. Coming up, find out the importance of being headstrong.
And fall is around the corner, and so are fall festivities. We went to one event that started as a party and became something bigger than expected.
Elon Local News starts right now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Elon Local News. I'm Sky Cowens.
And I'm Rajat Agrawal. Tonight we begin with a story that's being discussed all across the country.
The 2016 presidential elections are coming up, and candidates are currently fighting for nominations from their parties. With 21 people currently running for office, a lot of candidates are traveling around the country speaking to voters in key political states. Now, our Gary Grumbach was in Greensboro last night covering the Democrat Bernie Sanders' visit to the Tar Heel state. Now, Gary, what was the atmosphere like last night at the rally?
Well, the atmosphere last night was unbelievable for Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont. There were more than 9,000 people there. I would say more than 8,000 were young people. That's really his base. That's where he is getting the most traction there. And they were very excited. Some of the biggest cheers of the night were for some of his comments on wage and on college affordability.
And Gary, you mentioned a lot of young people. Yeah. Did you happen to see any Elon students in the crowd, and what specific point do you think fired them up the most? Well,
there were a lot of Elon students in the crowd, actually. I saw 5 or 6. And one of the biggest points was wage. Bernie Sanders wants to increase minimum wage to $15 an hour because he said a 40-hour work week, people should not be living in poverty with that.
Thanks so much, Gary. We're going to take a look at his experience last night.
How you feeling, the bird?
Bernie Sanders spoke to a packed Greensboro Coliseum complex Sunday night on issues of wage.
Wages in America are just too damn low.
College affordability.
I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that from a human point of view or an economic or a financial point of view, investing in education and jobs makes a lot more sense than investing in jails and incarceration.
And a few jabs at the GOP.
She is going to have to separate herself from that brand new baby in 1 week or 2 weeks because she has to go back to work to earn enough money to sustain her family. That is not a family value.
Sanders says he wants students to be able to get an education regardless of the income of their families.
This issue of income inequality will no longer be swept under the rug. Together, we are going to deal with it.
A number of Elon students attended the rally, including junior Rebecca Richin. She thinks it's the idea of college affordability that sets Sanders apart.
He really represents the people and not the top 1%. So as a college student, obviously free education, I think that's like a really valid issue, and he is a big proponent of that.
Richin says she believes Sanders really connects with first-time voters.
I think he also is standing for issues that young people stand for, like education and gender equality. That's a young people's issue for the most part.
And connecting with voters, one hashtag at a time. In downtown Greensboro, Gary Grumbach, Elon Local News.
Sanders has a busy schedule this week. He is traveling to Northern Virginia tonight to speak at another rally. Bernie Sanders' stance on wages has the potential to affect a lot of voters. But that's just one candidate on one side of the party. Our Connor Del Pree looked into another issue making headlines this election. And it's something Elon students may want to pay close attention to. Connor.
Thanks, Sky. With the presidential primary elections nearly 4 months away, candidates are laying out their platforms for many issues, including one that some Elon students will soon be dealing with: student loans. Hillary Clinton, the frontrunner for the Democrats, has expressed her displeasure with colleges making profit off student loans. If elected president, Clinton aims to release the new college compact. This would cost $350 billion over 10 years, but would get rid of some of the financial burdens that students face when borrowing money for tuition. Other Democratic candidate, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, has proposed a restructuring of interest rates for student loans. This proposal would cut interest rates in half, reverting back to a formula used until 2006 on student loan interest rates. Sanders would also allow students to refinance their loans, meaning that they can exchange their old rates to a newer, lower rate using the current United States interest rates. In the Republican Party, frontrunner Donald Trump has strayed away from refinancing loans and focused more on student employment after graduation. If elected president, Trump hopes that by creating more jobs for students fresh out of college, they will be able to pay off the student loans quicker and not face as many burdens from interest rates on the loans. With these issues potentially affecting students at Elon, I went around campus to ask students how they felt about these candidates' platforms.
I think that over time, the student debt is going to come back to us, and it'll be a bigger problem than if we give a little bit of leniency right now and help kids. I think if we give them some loan money, it'll kind of influence them to work a little bit harder, that they have to earn this money.
People don't have the financial means or the credit to get student loans before college. So having college or jobs after college doesn't matter if you can't get the loans before college.
No, I definitely think it's a good thing. A lot of people, especially lower income families, aren't able to send kids to college now, so I think that will help with that and cut down the rate of kids not going to college. So I think overall it's a good thing.
For more information about student loan stances of candidates that I did not discuss, check out elonlocalnews.com. I'm Connor Delpreet. Back to you, Sky and Rajat.
Thank you, Connor. If you want to learn more about the policies of the presidential candidates, you can catch the second Republican debate Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on CNN. This is the first main stage debate that will feature Carly Fiorina, the only woman in the Republican race, and the first debate without former Texas Governor Rick Perry, who dropped out over the weekend. If you don't have a place to watch the debate, the Student Government Association is having a watch party in upstairs Lakeside at 7:30.
Elon Local News is following a story about schools in Alamance County who are not receiving necessary funding to support themselves. Some schools are now looking for different methods to raise money. Teachers at Harvey R. Newland Elementary School in Burlington are using DonateChoose.org to help pay for classroom materials. Donors Choose allow private donors to fund projects for classroom materials. In Burlington, they're looking to raise nearly $1,500, so they're looking for support from the community. This would cover everything from books, pencils, classroom supplies, to headphones, anything you need in the classroom.
And if you want to donate, you can go to donorschoose.org and look up Harvey R. Newland Elementary School. Elon is on the verge of losing one of its local businesses. The Liz and Ed Mini Market on Haggard Avenue, located by Phoenix Arms Apartments, is up for sale. When the store will close for good is unclear at this moment, but the owners plan on keeping it open on weekends for the next few weeks. We were not able to get a statement from the owner as to why it is closing, but we will keep you updated as the story develops.
And driving out of Elon, you might have noticed construction is starting on South Williamson. The town of Elon is putting sidewalks along the street. The path will start at Ballpark Avenue, where you would turn for Mill Point Apartments, and extends to Sunset Drive. No word yet on when the sidewalks will be finished, but watch out for construction flags and cones on the sides of the road.
And driving out of Elon, you might have noticed construction is starting on South Williamson. The town of Elon is putting in sidewalks along the street. The path will start at Ballpark Avenue, where you would turn from Mill Point Apartments, and extends to Sunset Drive. No word yet on when the sidewalks will be finished, but watch out for construction flags and cones on the side of the roads. We all know it's a pain that when your head is injured. Coming up after the break, we will tell you what happens when it becomes more than just a headache.
And later in the show, we will show you a magical project that 2 students are working on that might make one employee's dream come true.
Spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
I don't know what's happening. Start a new chat. What did I do? Okay. Wow. It's so weird.
Hey! Hi!
Oh my gosh. Hi. God, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm so nervous. Gia, you're so big. Come closer to the camera. Wait, now you're in my face. That was so good.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet if you are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
Fall sports have started, but some athletes might find themselves becoming a spectator rather than a player. Our Michelle Alfini is live in the studio to tell us about an injury that can happen to anyone, but that is most susceptible to athletes. Michelle?
Thanks, Sky. We all might have hit our head from time to time, but in some cases it can be more than just a headache, especially when you are playing a contact sport. To many athletes, concussions mean a lot of time on the bench, which is why, according to the NCAA, concussion symptoms often go unreported. If concussions are left untreated, they can lead to brain damage. A concussion is defined as a mild traumatic brain injury, which means a head injury with a temporary loss of brain functioning. Concussions are caused by a blow to the head, a fall, or another injury that shakes the brain inside the skull. Taking a look at college sports, according to the NCAA, men's sports that led to the highest number of reported concussions were wrestling, football, ice hockey, lacrosse, and soccer. For women, it was ice hockey, field hockey, soccer, lacrosse, and basketball. As a student athlete, Elon basketball player Lauren Brown says she's seen the effects of concussions in sport firsthand.
You don't necessarily see, okay, I broke my arm, I'm going to have a cast on. When people get concussions, it can easily be overlooked.
Signs of a concussion include amnesia, confusion, headache, loss of consciousness, nausea, and trouble breathing. When a varsity athlete is diagnosed with a concussion, it is mandatory to take them out of the game by NCAA rules. At Elon, the athletes are then going through a threefold medical examination before they can get back in the game. That examination requires an evaluation of the athlete's symptoms, their neurocognitive functioning, and balance, which provides the sports medicine staff with the necessary information to return the athlete to safety. The findings of these post-injury assessments are then compared to preseason baseline assessments conducted on all student athletes participating in contact sports during their first year. Brown has also been researching concussions and their effects on athletes while helping with those baseline testing. She says it has helped her and her team stay aware of the issues.
I do feel like I'm still becoming a lot more educated on the topic and able to spread that to my teammates.
Concussions aren't just a concern for Division I athletes, they're also a concern for anyone who plays an intramural or club sport. I'm Michelle Alfini, back to you, Rajat and Sky.
Now, if you do get a concussion, do not ignore it. See a healthcare professional as soon as you can and get it diagnosed. For more information, visit elonlocalnews.com.
Now, Rashad, I don't know about you, but this is the first time that I was able to wear jeans and a sweater all semester.
I was wearing a jacket. It was cold
Finally,
outside.
the humidity is cooling off a little bit. It's
I
awesome.
prefer the warm weather, but it was
Really?
definitely chilly this morning.
Yeah.
We have our Ashley Bully downtown to tell us whether or not we need to pull out our sweaters yet. Ashley, what's the weather like?
Thanks, Rajat and Sky. As the sunset draws near, we've had a day filled mainly with sunshine. Today's high was 75 degrees and the low was 49. Those fall temperatures we felt yesterday have stayed. Let's take a look at our Phoenix 5-day forecast. Tomorrow we will have sunny skies again with a high of 82 degrees and a low of 52 degrees. On Wednesday, we may have some clouds reappear, but no worries, there is still no chance of rain. The high will be 82 degrees and the low of 54. The temps will continue to rise back up with Thursday's high of a warm 84 degrees with the sun shining bright. The low is 56 degrees. And to get your weekend started off right, we'll be back into the mid-80s on Friday with a high of 85 degrees. The clouds may come back a little too, but there is only a 10% chance of rain. As we get into the evening hours, temps will be cooling down to a chillier 59 degrees. Live from downtown Elon, I'm Ashley Boley. Back to you in the studio, Rajat and Sky.
Thanks so much, Ashley. A Cinderella story here on Elon's campus. Find out how two students might make one employee's dream come true.
Teens, stay tuned for an inside look after the break.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Service clubs aren't hard to find around Elon's campus, but this older club with a new twist is making helping others just one part of the experience. Rotaract Club is an organization where you do service that you are passionate about, and instead of just volunteering, you are connecting through the Student Professional Development Center and leading the project to help make more of a difference. This year, the new president of the club is sophomore Mike Guadagnino. After bringing the club back to campus 4 years ago by Elon alumna Emily Messenger-Schmidt, Guadagnino wants to really further develop the connections he has around the city of Burlington, as well as incorporating different workshops with the Student Professional Development Center. He says all new members are invited to decide what exactly they want to do with the club. For more information on the club, there's a meeting tomorrow night at 6 in Upstairs Lakeside, meeting room 212.
The friendly faces that serve you cookies, desserts, and coffee at Acorn are often seen as just some Southern sweetness. One Acorn waitress, Catherine, told 2 students about a dream one night. The 2 students decided to do something about it and are trying to send her to Disney World. The 2 girls saw the passion and heart Catherine put into each shift, even when they lasted until 2 a.m., and decided they needed to help. They started a GoFundMe page for Catherine in hopes of raising $6,500. it would take to send her and her family to Disney World. Lucy and Taylor, the two girls behind the magic, hope to reach their goal in the next month.
We're trying to keep it a secret, because we wanted to really hit home to her how much we care about her and how happy we want to make her. We do want to get as many community members involved in delivering it to Acorn. I think we're trying to get Disney on board to kind of throw a package together for them, but we'll see.
Make sure to stay up to date on all their fundraising efforts at elonlocalnews.com.
From acorns to apples, our John Curtis took a ride down to Gibsonville to discover where the core value is centered around a different apple.
This weekend in Gibsonville, North Carolina, food vendors, campers, bands, and hundreds of people came together for one of Gibsonville's biggest parties of the year. For most, the festival was right up the road, but that wasn't the case for everyone.
It was about midnight last night. Yeah, you know what? The heck with it. Let's just go. So that's what we did.
Chicago at 12 o'clock last night.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long was the drive?
It was about 12 and a half hours. 715 miles, I believe it was.
Now, the reason he made the trip?
You know, I've seen the pictures, I've seen the videos of it, so I figured, you know what, we couldn't miss it. It's worth the 715-mile drive to come down and support it.
Now, Apple Fest is about good times, great people, and most importantly, a good cause.
Because it growed so fast, and it was so many people that started coming, it turned into a job. We figured if we was going to do this, we needed to benefit some.
Yup, that was Ronnie Apple, the same guy that Apple Fest is named after. This all started over 5 years ago when Ronnie threw a party celebrating his divorce. His current fiancée, Beth, helped him transition the party to a benefit.
It was one of those situations where they said, what can we do? He wanted to help the local community. So then they found the Elite Foundation.
The Elite Foundation assists those with breast cancer in the surrounding area by providing both financial assistance for treatment and support groups. Tickets to Apple Fest ranged from $10 to $15, and all the funds went directly to the foundation. Last year, the festival raised $25,000.
I was yelling, uplifting. It's fun. I love music. Music is healing, and it's all about having a good time and celebrating life. That's what we're here for.
With another year of Apple Fest in the books, Ronnie is looking forward to next year for one important reason.
I like saving the tatas.
John Curtis, Elon Local News.
Coming up next, I'll give a wrap-up on weekend sports, and I caught up with head men's soccer coach Chris Little to see what he's doing in his second year.
I will not be news today. I will not make headlines by going through a bad girl phase where I get that bad girl haircut where they shave just one side of your head. And I will not bring a Komodo dragon as my +1 to an award show, even though that would be awesome. I'm Olivia Munn, and I will not be trending today because there's a much bigger story that needs to be heard.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
2014 was a dominant year for the Elon cross-country team. Senior Luis Vargas led the team to its first ever CAA championship and then went on to become an All-American. This year, Vargas is gone, but Nick Polk and his team showed everyone that one player does not define it, sweeping the competition at this weekend's Elon Invitational. Rain in the forecast didn't put a damper on the Phoenix spirits. The women kicked things off in the 5K run. Senior Elise Beirut finished atop the women's division with a time of 18 minutes 13 seconds. Sophomore Bridget Brennan was the next runner to cross the line for Elon 45 seconds later. On the men's side, sophomore Sam Gaya finished runner-up in the 8K run with a time of 26 minutes 8 seconds, while rookie Nick Siokowski placed third with a time of 26:10. Next up, the Phoenix heads to Cary, North Carolina to compete in the Adidas Cross Country Challenge on September 18th. But for now, Gaya says they'll enjoy this overall team victory. Following their 4-0 win over Davidson on Saturday, the Elon men's soccer team is off to a historic start. I caught up with head coach Chris Little to see what's working for his team. When he was named Elon head men's soccer coach in April 2014, Chris Little was tasked with replacing Darren Powell, who coached Elon to the most wins in program history, and helping the Phoenix make a successful transition into the Colonial Athletic Association. In his first season at the helm, Little's team was mostly successful, finishing near the top of the CAA table. But the Phoenix struggled near the end, falling in the quarterfinals of the conference tournament after winning the Southern Conference tournament the last 3 years straight.
We went through a period where at times the SoCon was a little top heavy, where we were kind of dominating things, and this isn't the case in this league. It's very, very tight, but it's been good too. I think that we learned a lot from not winning the championship last year.
That lesson, which Little says is character and hard work, has been well received by the Phoenix.
I think they really committed themselves over the summer to what we were doing, and they came back super fit, and then they've worked really, really hard for us in preseason.
Elon has reeled off on 5 straight victories to start the season, the first time in program history. And Little said having a year of CAA play under the team's belt has helped.
The other players in the roster and the large senior class we have this year have done a really good job in stepping up and assuming their own roles and identities within the team.
Among those stepping up are young players. Keeper Matthew Yeager is a redshirt freshman, and true freshman Jaden Fortune scored 2 goals against Davidson Friday night.
I think we've got a really good blend. We've got some kind of older experience, and then we've got this like youthful enthusiasm and people kind of really pushing hard to try and earn an opportunity, so it's a good balance within our squad and our roster.
But even with young players in key roles, Little says the team's goals are as high as ever. Andrew Feather, Elon Local News. The men's soccer team will be back in action tomorrow when they travel to Winston-Salem to take on 13th ranked Wake Forest. And following his 2 goals against Davidson, Elon freshman Jaden Fortune was named the Colonial Athletic Association Player of the Week. It was the first conference honor for the highly regarded rookie who played for former Phoenix coach Darren Powell on Orlando City's youth squad. And another Elon athlete received CAA honors for his performance over the weekend. Football player Corey Mitchell was named CAA Defensive Player of the Week for his performance in a triple overtime win over Gardner-Webb. Mitchell had a career-high 18 tackles and forced a fumble in a 21-13 win. That's all for sports this week, but check us out on Twitter and Facebook at ELN Sports.
Andrew, the soccer game you mentioned Friday against Wake Forest, I believe that's the first time the team started 5-0 in a number of years. What atmosphere can we expect at Rudd Field?
Well, it's not actually at Rudd Field. It is in Winston-Salem. Wake Forest has a very rabid fan base. Right now, the 13th ranked team in the country. They are also 5-0 at this time, so we should expect something exciting.
Thank you so much, Andrew. That's it tonight for Elon Local News.
You can find our stories online at elonlocalnews.com, and make sure to follow us on social media on Facebook and Twitter at elonlocalnews.com.
From all of us here at ELN, have a great night, Elon.